Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Today we have Jon Forster, who's the director of Cora Gold. The company is just listed on the AIM market, and hopefully Jon will be able to give us a bit more of an insight into this new IPO. So firstly, Jon, how are you?
Very good, thank you, Rob.
Glad to hear it. Congratulations on the listing today. Could you start with just talking us through a bit about the company and what the assets are?
Yeah, thanks. Cora Gold is a gold exploration company operating predominantly in Mali in West Africa. The projects are the consequence of the amalgamation of the non-core exploration permits from Hummingbird, which acquired them from Gold Fields at the same time as it acquired the Yanfolila mine, and also existing permits in Cora Gold. So very importantly, the Hummingbird permits have had substantial previous exploration and drilling work conducted by Gold Fields. And this has left behind a gold discovery called Sanankoro, which has excellent potential, we believe, to eventually become a standalone mining operation. Systematic reconnaissance drilling was undertaken by Gold Fields over a 14-kilometre long zone, and they identified at least 2 parallel gold mineralized structures along almost the entire length. Further to this, Gold Fields followed up with drilling of just 1.6 kilometres of this full 14-kilometre length and has confirmed potential economic widths and grades to depths of at least 100 metres. So as a consequence, we believe there is excellent potential to expand this discovery through further exploration over this very large footprint of 14 kilometres, and if successful, the opportunity then to establish a very sizable gold resource that might eventually become a mineable project, and initially from open pits.
Okay. And leading up to the IPO, I mean, what was the appetite like? Hummingbird obviously had a 50% stake, so getting the investment, how was that? How did you go about it?
I must admit, I was very pleased with the response in the market. The investors were very, very interested in the story, and I think very importantly, our own shareholders, existing shareholders, supported us extremely well. And of the funds raised, nearly 50% of the funding has been taken up by our existing shareholders. And this has resulted in Hummingbird being diluted down, as you said, from 50%, now down to 33.8%. The balance of funds were provided by a number of institutions and funds, including City Financial.
Okay, so to start off, you've actually got an institute on board already, which is quite promising.
Certainly, yeah, it's very encouraging.
So you've got $3.5 million that you raised approximately. How are you going to actually use the funds?
Well, essentially, Rob, we're a no-frills company that ensures that as much of the funds as possible goes into the ground. And our current allocation is about 65% towards the Sanankoro project for a 15,000-metre drill program. And then we do have 2 other project areas of which the balance of the funds will be spent.
Okay, so you're actually going to start immediately, pretty much, I guess. There's no red tape or anything to wait for?
No, that's right. We expect to be drilling before the end of the season, before the end of the year. And so we'll have news flow generated from drilling very shortly. And then, as I mentioned, we do have 2 other project areas, and we will be drilling there as well. And if I could just mention a little bit about those 2 project areas, as they both lie within trucking distance of existing mines. So one is within trucking distance of the Yanfolila mine of Hummingbird, and the other is within the trucking distance of the Sadiola mine of Anglo Gold Ashanti. And I think the important thing here is that this can be a win-win situation for both parties, with the mine operator getting additional feed while we benefit by potentially monetizing any smaller deposits that don't warrant standalone processing plants.
It's quite interesting you say that the trucking infrastructure is already there in place. I think what a lot of people don't realise, certainly in the mining industry, is logistics do play a huge factor. It's getting the material across to refineries isn't always straightforward. So you're using the other companies to help you.
Yeah.
What about the team then? So behind you, who've you got working on this?
Well, we do believe that our team is actually one of our key assets. We have a board of directors, which includes 2 of the Hummingbird directors, 2 of the Hummingbird representatives. We have a board that has extensive African exploration and mining experience. But importantly, we do have a management that has operated very successfully over the last 25 years in the junior exploration sector in Africa. We've made 7 successful gold discoveries to our credit, most of which are now being mined or are being scheduled for mining. But probably of most importance is our Malian exploration team on the ground that has been trained by and has worked with us for nearly 20 years.
That's good. So you said about the news flow over the coming months. So obviously getting to production in 2007, usually you'll start with the very first dig and things coming out of that. What is there any other news flow that we can expect?
Well, yes, regarding news flow, as we mentioned, we expect to be drilling Sanankoro before the end of the year, before the end of this year. So regular news flow will be coming from that project. But in parallel, we'll also be conducting exploration over those 2 other project areas that are close to the existing mine processing plants. And so news flow will also be generated from that.
And finally, for those looking to invest in your company, why they should look at Cora Gold?
Yeah, I think, first of all, we're expanding an existing discovery at Sanankoro in order to demonstrate potential for multi-million ounce resources and eventually for it to become a standalone mine. Secondly, being able to drill within trucking distance of existing mines gives us that potential routes for early cash flow, which is quite unusual in many exploration projects. But thirdly, very importantly, I think the team that we have has done it before multiple times in the junior gold exploration sector, and that it has immense West African and in particular Malian experience.
With the early cash flow coming in, like you said, that is quite good to have, and you said you're going to be starting pretty much straight away. With that cash flow, would they go into the expansion and of the other assets, or are you going to focus on the main one first and then see what you can do there?
I think with exploration, you're always governed by the next drill result, but certainly if we have success with generating those resources around the existing mines, then it would give the opportunity to reinvest any cash flow back into the principal project.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jon, for taking the time to speak to us. And as you said, you'll have plenty of news to be bringing out leading up to the end of the year. And let's see if you can get the production going. That'd be great.
Many thanks, Rob.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.